Apator. When YouTube first hit the internet, people felt like they finally had the opportunity for all their home videos and vlogs to go somewhere that close friends and family could see. Everything was simple, sweet, and wholesome. And it was all done for the users themselves and for their loved ones. Not for views, clicks, or streams, but for the pure enjoyment of watching back their lives whenever they wanted to. Tor Eckhoff created a channel in the early years of YouTube that was a beautiful illustration of what the website was all about. He called it Apator, which was a name inspired by two things: his name and one of his biggest interests, apes. I say that to really show why Tor started making videos. For himself. Not for money, fame, or attention, but to create clips that made his ordinary life seem not so ordinary. It began with a video titled, "In My Boat." This is what Apator was all about. Real life. And over time, his videos maintained that same quality. But he also began to experiment more. Things got more quirky. Tor started to have some fun. One of the earlier ones like this was titled Chainsaw. He loved filming with chainsaws, but that was just one type of video he would create. What became more common were ones that had anything to do with ice. Ice skating, walking on ice, or even jumping into frozen lakes. Now, despite this channel having no intention of reaching success, that's exactly what this video brought Apator. Currently, this video has 5.4 million views, and it was only the start of a massive audience that Tor had attracted through his videos. An audience that was now asking, who was this man? And he says, "My name is Tor Eckhoff. I was born in 1964. Living in Sandefjord in Norway. I am a worker in a paint factory in Sandefjord. In my free time, I am doing stuff you can see here. The profile picture is taken in 1990. I dived into the bottom of a shallow lake. Got a few stitches. I am drinking real vodka in the videos." And that's another thing that he introduces in his later videos. Drinking. You can see it at the end of that last video, and he acts out his silly and sometimes crazy stunts. He has a bottle of vodka somewhere off camera, which he'll pull out and take a swig from every couple of clips. Some viewers assume this is to help fight the cold he feels from the water, or maybe it's just because he likes drinking. Either way, it becomes a staple of the videos. One of the things that people love about his channel. These are people that are becoming more than viewers. They're becoming dedicated fans. I never realized how much I needed a channel like Apator's. Another commenter says, whenever I'm having a bad day, I hop onto YouTube and watch Apator. Subscribed. And someone else says, when I grow up, I want to be like Apator. Tor hadn't planned on anyone watching his videos. He was just living his life, having fun, and filming for the hell of it. But people loved just that. In fact, they were obsessed. And all that attention gave him opportunities that he never believed were possible for him, like getting to see his videos be included in film festivals, as well as even landing a role in an actual movie. Apator was on top of the world, but all of that success came with a price. And for Tor, that price was danger. Because part of why the channel had gotten so successful was not only the quirkiness and fun nature of his personality, but also the stunts that he would perform. They were insane, to say the least. It wasn't every day that someone stumbled across a video of someone drilling 2 holes in a frozen lake and only using a flashlight as their guide to get out of the water and, not die. It wasn't just commenters or viewers that saw what he was doing as risky, but also people in real life. Bystanders who would just happen to come across Tor filming, and they would sometimes scold him for his reckless stunts, especially performing them without anyone around to make sure he was safe. His reaction was usually just to shrug them off. Many regard falling through ice as life-threatening, but if you know what you're doing and have ice claws, then it's usually fine. But then he paused and really thought about what he just said, about the word usually in that sentence. He adds one more thought. I shouldn't be cocky. I could very well die out here someday. His videos didn't seem like he really believed that. He uploaded often, every video being similar to the ones we've watched so far. Some of which seem crazy, but Tor was having the time of his life. And on November 22nd, 2021, when he celebrated his 57th birthday, he felt so content and happy to be alive that he uploaded a video titled, I'm not dead yet. I am 57 today. It's the perfect day for Tor. Walking around with a drink in his hand, a bathtub full of dirty ice water, and a camera to film it all. It's clear how grateful he is to get to film his antics, and honestly, how happy he is to still be alive after all of it. Because even when he ignores all the comments on it, that title hints that maybe, just maybe, there was some part of him that knew it was a miracle he was still alive. Because up until November 26th, 2021, he was invincible. Until he wasn't. Until he found himself submerged in near frozen water, with no way out. He had planned this stunt like usual. He created an escape route and safety precautions, but they were all failing him. The one thing he didn't do, in fact, he never did, was bring someone along with him. So when he was crying out for help, only a bystander off in the distance heard him. And by the time that person got to him, it was too late. Despite the efforts of them, EMTs, and hospital staff, Tor Eckhoff was pronounced dead on November 27th. The internet was stunned. His audience was left speechless, and his fans were distraught. But his memory would live on forever, because while his death was tragic and heartbreaking, it was only because he had offered something so beautiful to the internet. He gave a piece of himself to his channel. Making videos was everything to him. And he got to die doing something that he loved. And because of that, his videos will live forever on YouTube. And in a way, he will live forever. It's somewhat haunting, but also peaceful to think about. Whenever anyone needs a video to cheer them up, they can type in Apator on YouTube, and it'll immediately bring a smile to their face. Rest in peace, Apator.
You don't really notice yourself getting older. You notice it in the people around you. One day they're full of energy, always working on something, always ready to go. Then little by little, they start saying things like, "I'm just tired all the time," or "I just don't feel like myself anymore." I'm only 19, so I haven't experienced that personally, but I started noticing it with my dad. He'd get through work, come home completely drained, and by the evening, he had nothing left in the tank. It wasn't that he was sick or anything, but he just felt like he was running on empty most days. Then he started taking Mars Men. Now, I'm not saying it's some magic pill or anything, but he keeps telling me how much better he feels. He says he's got more consistent energy throughout the day, he's actually looking forward to working out again, and he's ready to tackle the day instead of dragging himself through it. Honestly, seeing that change in him made me curious about what was actually in this stuff. So I looked into it. One thing I learned is that as men get older, their bodies can still make testosterone, but a lot of it can become bound to something called SHBG, which makes it harder for the body to use. Mars Men is designed to help free up that locked testosterone using 8 natural ingredients like tonka ali, shilajit, vitamin D, zinc, boron, and more. All made in the USA and third-party tested. And what you see on screen is the actual bottle my dad's been taking. And he's been genuinely impressed with it. It's not like pounding an energy drink or coffee. He describes it as just feeling more like himself again. More motivated, more energetic, and ready to take on the day. And that's something I think a lot of you guys can relate to. For a limited time, you guys can get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support my show and let them know I sent you. And now, let's get back into the video.
Sandra 3000 Cassie. In July of 2013, a young doctor would move to Kalamazoo, Michigan, to begin a residency at the Borgess Medical Center. Like anyone in the medical field, she had been studying for years and had put in the hours to achieve her dreams. This move was not only the beginning of a new chapter, but the end of an exhausting journey as a student. This was Talika Patrick. She was known as smart, kind, and a hardworking young woman. Anyone who met her felt that no one deserved the title of a doctor more, and that her patients would end up in great hands. They saw a bright future on her horizon. They saw a life filled with passion and success. What they didn't see was the turmoil boiling under the surface, the chaos, the side of her she had been hiding. On her YouTube channel, Sandra 3000 Cassie, that persona is there, and the mask is coming off. But all the people in her life would have been shocked to see it. Videos like these would have left them confused and alarmed.
Baby, good night. It's Talika. I am just coming to you to say hi and just to tell you about my day. Baby, I felt that. Put it up a little bit of fight. It's all. I don't know.
This wasn't the Talika that everyone knew. This behavior was strange. She wasn't herself, and no one that knew her had any idea who this video was addressed to. Talika was an open book, and she shared information freely. The people around her felt that they knew what was going on in her life, but still, no one had heard anything about a boyfriend or anything like that. But the main problem with these videos is that despite the concern her family felt when watching them, they were just watching them a little too late. Because on December 5th, 2013, only 5 months into the beginning of her career, her family shared their last words with Talika. They just didn't know it yet. The day began like normal for Talika. It was a work day at the hospital. She spent hours seeing patients and completing charts, but when her shift finished, she didn't return home like usual. She instead got a ride to the Radisson Plaza Hotel, where she tried to get a room but failed because she only had $100 on her in cash, which wasn't enough. Giving up on the room, she got on a hotel shuttle bus around 8 and returned back to the hospital where she had left her car. Even just going through the events myself, the details seem odd and erratic. And I'm not alone in feeling that way. The bus driver who took her back to Burgess Medical Center says that Talika seemed agitated. It felt like something was wrong. What was even more eerie was that as she walked through the parking lot, he saw her ducking in between cars. It was like she was hiding from something, like something was following her. But he thought to himself that maybe he had been making something out of nothing. He didn't know this woman. Maybe it wasn't as crazy as he felt like it was. It was just that, a feeling, which he let go. So she got off the bus, got back into her car, and left Kalamazoo. 2 hours passed by with no one having any idea where Talika was, or that she had gone anywhere at all. That changed when a driver on I-94 in Portage, Indiana, had been driving behind a gold Lexus around 10 p.m. A vehicle they didn't stay behind for very long, because whoever was behind the wheel had been driving insane, to say the least. Enough so that it warranted a call to state police to report them for reckless driving. 20 minutes later, law enforcement arrived at the mile marker that the call had been placed at. They did not see a car driving erratically, but found something much, much worse. It was the gold Lexus in a ditch. Immediately, it was searched, and what was found inside was the beginning of a mystery that would last months on end. Not only were clothes and some cash found inside, but the credit cards and driver's license of Talika Patrick were all found in the vehicle. Her entire life was in the car, but Talika herself, nowhere to be found. And it would take 4 long months for her to be seen again. But in a devastating conclusion to the story that began on that cold December day, she was not found alive. It was a fisherman on Lake Charles who discovered her body on April 6th. 3 days later, an autopsy confirmed it was the body of Talika, and the cause of death was ruled as drowning. Many people didn't feel like the case was solved, though. That there were still so many unanswered questions. Still so much justice that needed to happen for Talika and her family. So people returned to the YouTube channel. And it wasn't just the video that played earlier. She had uploaded a total of 9 videos in the span of a week. All of them were directed towards a romantic interest, someone who was never actually present in any of the videos. These clips don't give any clue as to what really happened on December 5th, but they paint a picture. And law enforcement began to ask themselves, if she had been posting bizarre videos like these, was there anything else in her digital footprint that could give them an answer as to what really happened? Well, there was. When cops dug a little more, they stumbled across a Twitter account. Well, actually, multiple Twitter accounts. Usernames like CaliGirl2013, Moses Beautiful, and Talika Patrick were all accounts that she was using. All of them followed the same kind of themes and had similar posts. It was like the videos. She wrote things out that were clearly meant for someone else, someone that she was in love with, someone she believed she was in a relationship with. Some examples from Cali Girl 2013 and Moses Beautiful from June and September of 2013 are this, quote, "I have just relocated to be with you, so I really hope you want me so we can be in love and get married and have a couple babies." And, quote, "I'm tired of hoping and imagining. Please, baby, I want it to be real. This town is small as hell. Not much happens here. It's boring, and when I have free time, I get depressed and lonely." Then months pass, and she begins to use the account under her actual name. And on December 4th, she posts this, quote, "You reach me through a demonic portal that gives demons power over me and dilutes my spiritual authority. Please understand that I must protect myself spiritually." And one day later, on the day of her disappearance, and most likely her death, she writes this, quote, "I just activated tweet_delete on my account to automatically delete my old tweets." Then her posts were gone, and so was she. Now the police wanted to know, who was she talking to? They compiled all of the details from her videos, her Twitter, and information from friends and family, and discovered that everything added up to describe one man, Marvin Sapp. Marvin is a well-known musician and pastor who, not coincidentally, lives under an hour from Kalamazoo in Grand Rapids, Michigan. In August of 2013, he led his regular Sunday service at the church he and his wife founded, when he went into detail about a woman who had entered his home the night prior. She had not been invited, but entered anyway and talked to his 3 teenage children before being asked to leave. This was actually the last straw in a conflict that had been rising for months. It had finally come to an end when, after she came to his home, Marvin got lawyers involved and filed a restraining order, which was finalized on September 17th. In the process, he said there had been over 400 instances of this person trying to contact him, whether it through the mail, digitally, or in person. He had enough of her quite literally stalking him. This person was Talika Patrick. And when he cut ties with her is when her tweets, videos, and mental health started to spiral into something much darker. Quote, "Since coming out here and not being able to see you, I just fell into the D word. I'm not allowed to say it because of my job. And then when I got those letters in the mail, I really went down. I am certain that I was clinically D word. I was crying every day and I could barely do anything. Even now, I am still struggling. I was like, oh, I'm going to break away from you so I can feel better. But actually, tweeting is the only thing that keeps me going because it allows me to reach out to you and lets me show you love." It's at this point that it's clear Talika is not well. She is in a fantasy, or possibly a psychotic break, that is feeding this delusion that she has a relationship with Marvin. It's pretty heartbreaking to watch her grieve something that was never there to begin with. And like we saw earlier, what she is struggling with gets so much worse. It transforms from depression and sadness to paranoia. She becomes concerned about demons. She even deactivates her Twitter account. It feels obvious that all of this is connected to her behavior on that last day she was seen, that it provides an explanation for what happened. Hiding behind cars, driving like someone is out to get her, and finally entering a near-frozen lake in the dead of winter. She had lost this battle she had been having with her own mind. But some people feel as if there's more to it, that it was actually a homicide. There are many petitions that go as far to request an investigation into Marvin Sapp and any possibility that he was actually behind all of this. To think of that as an explanation for all of this is chilling, to say the least. If it were true, that man would have to be genuinely evil, especially to paint her in such a way that everyone thinks she's crazy, and to chalk it up to mental illness. The sad truth, though, is that with the evidence we have, that's just the way it seems. Her internet profiles were of a young woman who was struggling. She was in the depths of an illness so great that when left untreated, it led to her untimely death. Whether or not it was foul play or simply just a heartbreaking story of someone who didn't get the help they need, the ending was devastating. We didn't get to see her career flourish or have the family and life she deserved.
Yes. Put it up a little bit of fight, it's alright.
American Reject 2012. The internet is full of creeps. That's no surprise. People that have no boundaries, no filters, and always take things too far. Even behind a screen, someone can very easily freak someone out. They'll send unsettling messages, get blocked, make a burner account, and then do it all again. It's like walking through a minefield trying to avoid these people. But even still, it feels shocking when it's right in front of your face. Not in the DMs or a follow request, but posted for everyone to see. Fully public, whenever anyone wants to watch. This is what I felt when I came across a channel called American Reject 2012. Created in 2010, the channel has about 70 videos that follow the same guy, who I discover is named Ray. The most popular video, titled Hot Blonde Part 1, is not a great first impression of him. He begins the video explaining that he has recently been pretending to be rich, and at the same time, trying to boost his confidence around women. His one way of doing that is by requesting tours of homes that are on sale. Homes that he has no intentions or means of buying. Which sure isn't too harmful. An open house is an open house, but like I said, he's killing two birds with one stone. He set this up so the tour is run by a real estate agent who is in fact the very, quote, hot blonde mentioned in the title. Someone that he feels he can use as practice for his social skills. And as soon as the video begins, it gets as uncomfortable as it sounds.
Oh, thank you.
Castles.
Nice to meet you. I'm just filming this for my wife.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I might need to, send this back to her in the States to show her, what kind of property, that we could perhaps live in.
Right, okay,
so,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, magnificent hair.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank
Beautiful.
you for the compliment.
No problem.
Right.
Immediately, this woman can tell that this isn't going to be a normal house tour. That doesn't mean she won't try and continue on like she normally would, but every time she does, Ray brings it back to an almost unbearable level of awkwardness.
Okay. Well, you've got the option. There was a wall here previously. So, if you wanted that peace and quiet, you could easily put a partition up to separate the two
So,
rooms.
are you married? You
You married? Well, no, but I do have a boyfriend.
Oh, okay. So, you know, it's this kind of place that, you know, let's say if you were single,
Right.
you know, and is this the kind of place that you would like, you know, maybe like to come back to if you know, you met a guy in a bar and you wanted to, you know, go back to his place? You'd be impressed with this place?
Well, it's all, you know, it's down to one's own taste, isn't it? Really,
Personal
Ray?
taste.
Yeah.
Personal taste.
But I think it's a great start to home. Is it just for you and your wife?
Yeah, just me and
No children?
the missus.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, no, I got a son.
The video unfortunately goes on like that for a while. It's almost 10 minutes of exhausting secondhand embarrassment and sympathy for this poor woman who has to put up with him and the unhinged things that come out of his mouth. Towards the end, he finally admits that he was lying about the wife, and in reality, he wants to purchase the home for a bachelor pad, which is still a lie. That he takes even further with a story on why he and his made-up wife got divorced in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, me and my wife, we went through various problems, and you know, I was trying to spice things up in the bedroom, and I had like I got some like sexy photos taken of myself, like cuddling a snake, you know, to try and like spice things up in the bedroom department, and it didn't work. And,
The worst thing about this whole thing is that even though she cut him off multiple times and tried to bring the conversation to anything else other than what he was talking about, he never gets the hint. In fact, he goes as far to ask her for a ride back to her office. Of course, she says no, but maybe out of people-pleasing, she does agree to give him a ride back near the office. The safe option, but still. She has to put up with this guy for longer than she would need to. And doing so only leads to another video on the channel called Hot Blonde Part 2. Here, viewers get to watch an even more uncomfortable interaction between her and Ray. They get in her car, and at first he begins to make small talk about the house and neighborhood they just looked at. But he's really just stalling, despite the fact that she stated she has a boyfriend and gave no signs of being interested in him. He continues to try and make a move on her. He plays it off at first like an apology for coming on too strong, but then goes right into literally asking her out. It's astounding. Unbelievable how little respect he has for this woman, who is clearly so uncomfortable. And no matter how many times she says no, he still doesn't get the hint.
No problem.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
for
nice
coming.
to meet you.
And you.
Well, just gonna give you a. I was just gonna give you a business like a double kiss.
Oh,
you know the double.
I'm quite shy.
You're quite shy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what is that anyway with the whole double kiss? You know, do you give 3 kisses? You know, is that too many? I don't know. Sometimes I give 3 or 4. You know. So.
Right. Okay. Well, shaking hands good enough, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, thanks again.
You're very welcome.
Pleasure to meet you.
And you.
And
The most infuriating part about this whole thing is that he finishes the video by getting out of the car, telling the camera that he's going to think about what he did wrong. And then, lo and behold, he does not do that because there's a part 3. And in part 3, he goes over his new plan, which he has been devising for a year. A whole year. What he came up with was to have a friend call her real estate company, ask to see a house, and then he would show up instead and try to ask her out again. Luckily, or maybe on purpose, this friend of his makes a mistake and accidentally says the name Ray when requesting the showing. Although he quickly corrected and said his own name like Ray had requested he do, I think she caught on, because when he arrived at the location, someone else was there to greet him. It was a man, Someone who explained that the woman he was looking for, his coworker, had been too busy and he would show him the house instead. Ray seemed to believe him, even though he was extremely disappointed his plan didn't work out. But as their conversation went on, Ray got the impression that she wasn't so busy after all. She just didn't want to be alone with him again, because this wasn't just a coworker. It was actually her brother, her older brother, who made it clear he knew exactly who Ray was and had no intention of letting him near his sister again.
Yeah, she needs someone there to take care of her as well, you know? So it's nice to work together.
Does her boyfriend not?
Well, he doesn't work with her, does he? Really?
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, he can't be there.
Yeah.
So we work together, and also I can take care of her, you know, which is the right thing to do, really, with your little sister.
I guess so, yeah. Okay, well, cool.
These people aren't the only ones made uncomfortable by Ray, though. Like I said, his channel has around 70 videos, each one more unsettling and frustrating than the last. The worst part is that no matter how much I watch, it never seems like Ray really understands that his behavior is wrong. Even when his comments are filled with concern and criticism, like people saying, "This transcends cringe and crosses over into pure dread," and "This is straight out of a nightmare for anyone," and also, "You came straight from every girl's nightmare." Or even when the people he approaches outright tell him he's suspicious and to leave them alone. Like in one vlog where he visits a museum, which he spends most of the video doing commentary on the statues that's ultimately just stupid and irrelevant. He doesn't have any actual opinion on the artwork. He really just creates things to talk about that give him an excuse to talk to strangers, so he can make them as uncomfortable as possible. One young woman stands up for herself after a couple of long minutes of him talking to her and her friend, and asks him to stop filming her. Immediately, he's passive-aggressive about her very simple request, and even though he does stop filming her, his reaction is still insane.
Sorry. Oh, you want me to leave?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, bye.
Bye.
You're not very friendly, though. I mean, you should work on that, you know, if you want to.
Yeah,
I know you're only young, and, you know, you have every right to be suspicious of me because...
I'm not really that young.
Oh, okay, well, but you're... Okay.
I'm just suspicious. So.
You're what?
I'm just suspicious. So.
Okay. Cool. Okay, well, have a nice day, yeah, and life. Okay.
It's yet just another example of the kind of videos on American Reject 2012, and the kind of person Ray is, which is clearly an unwell and misogynistic creep. But not everyone thinks so, because actually, the original channel has since been abandoned and taken down. But a fan of his kept all his videos and created their own page where they could keep all of his work. It's described as, quote, "This is a fan archive channel of the legendary American Reject 2012. I have no idea what happened to him or why his videos went down. But this website is a hollow shell without them on here. Ray, if you're even alive and you want me to take these down, please just let me know." And for an even further description, they gave this response when asked who exactly Ray was. Quote, "He was an engineer, a politician, a doctor, a philanthropist. He was the last cowboy and the end of a line of great Americans. And for all of this, he was exiled. Perhaps it was jealousy, perhaps it was fear, who knows? But he was rejected by America and left to write a new legend in the old world. This channel is an archive of his chronicles." I don't know what's more disturbing. Ray or his fans. It's terrifying to think that there are people who have watched his videos and thought, that's a great American. No. He was just a guy who made women scared. Like some of his YouTube comments said, he was a living nightmare in the form of a human. Every video is proof that he was someone who went out of his way to freak people out. And whether it's because he lacks social awareness, thinks it's funny, or is just a disturbing person, the whole thing feels sickening to watch. His last video was uploaded in 2019, which is another hard watch. Instead of awkward though, this one is more sad. Not that there's a lot of room for empathy with someone like Ray, but it is difficult to watch this as it's just 5 minutes of him spiraling and falling apart. It begins with him talking about Jimmy Savile, a well-known British DJ with a history of crimes against minors. But then it cuts right to him driving a van and updating his viewers on his life. He says he had to get a job as a delivery driver, something he's clearly not happy about. Multiple times he curses out other drivers and even the automated GPS voice. He honestly seems like a different person, but not for the better. He still seems unwell, but in a more depressed way. He just looks miserable. Like he's lost all the energy he had to go out and harass people trying to live their normal lives. But what's bizarre is how all over the place the video is. There's a couple of minutes of him driving, and then it goes right back to where he was before, sitting in a room talking about Jimmy Savile. But not just him. He also talks about a janitor that he knew as a kid, someone who did the same things that Jimmy did, and among those awful things, he was also a gay man who did some horrible activities that Ray feels the need to go into, explicit detail into. It's hard to tell what the point of it is, but it's so unsettling. The way he talks about these people, how he says others think he looks like he could be one of them because of his creepy looking mustache. It is all just eerie. And Ray is just a bizarre person, which he obviously is from the outro of the video.